Evening, ladies and gentlemen, staff, fellow councillors. I'd like to call the regular meeting of council, the last one for 2023 to order. It's to be held and transmitted electronically via the council chambers here located at 39 South Door Road, Lake Cowichan, British Columbia. I'd first like to acknowledge our gathering with gratitude on the traditional unceded territory of the Siouxsie people who have walked gently around the community. With that, I will look for introduction of late items, if there are any. Councillor Sanders.
Thank you. I have a letter which I forwarded to council and to the CAO from a teacher at LCS, Nicole Russo, for a grant in aid.
Under B, new business. Grant request. Any others, Joseph?
No.
On your end? Hello, councillor. Looking for approval of the agenda as amended, moved by Councillor Frisbee, seconded by Councillor Bonacca. All in favor? Opposed, abstaining? Motion carries. Thank you. Public input. We have one public person here. If you have any input on the agenda items presented tonight, you're free.
No, I don't.
Not meeting tonight. Thank you. We can talk later. Seeing none, I will look for adoption of the minutes. Mr. Fernandez. That's the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on November 28th, 2023. Do we see any errors or omissions? As you are putting your hand up, I will say moved by Councillor Austin, seconded by Councillor Frisbee. Any input? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Any business arising or unfinished business within that, Mr. Fernandez?
None.
No delegations or representations. We have correspondence, UBCM, the Canada Community Building Fund, the second Community Works Fund payment for 2023-2024. Anything on that, Joseph?
And nothing other than it's our regular contribution that we receive. Twice a year.
Twice a year this is received. And that can be used for a number of capital projects, operational, etc.
Yeah, as long as it's related to.
Within the criteria.
Right.
So we will implement that in our budget discussions, I'm sure. Question, Councilor Black.
Yeah, just a curiosity thing, what happens if this does not go forward again?
If I may, I think FCM is looking on a new fiscal plan with the senior levels of government. As this one phases out to look at a new funding model that incorporates inflation and price increases that have been not included in these in the past. So FCM is working diligently on a new formula for that.
It's guaranteed funding.
I would rather not say it's guaranteed, but as there is an election year coming up federally, I believe it needs funds moving around. Senior levels. That concludes. So that's just for information. Council and committee reports. Let's look to committee of the whole. Councillor Austin.
Let's say your words, fine.
That's fine.
Thank you, whatever you've got there. I'd like to move the minutes of Tuesday, December 12th, with the following recommendations. That the committee recommend approval of the Lake Cowichan Fire Department's incident report in the amount of $8,639.15 for October 2023. That the committee recommend approval of the Lake Cowichan Fire Department's incident report in the amount of $16,866.18 for November 2023. That the committee recommends that the quote of $13,600 as provided by Raw Demolition be approved, subject to no further increases in the current demolition contract. That the committee recommend that staff contact Spirit Loop organizers for the town's participation in its promotional campaign. There's some other stuff in there, but that was the actual motion. That the committee recommend the attendance of 2 members of council to attend the local government leadership academy conference to be held in January 31st, February 2nd, section in Richmond, BC. That the committee recommend approval of leave of absence for council Sandvik from the meeting held this day. That's all.
So with that, you're moving those,
Yes, please.
seconder, Councillor Womaka. Any input on those? Call the question, all those in favor? Opposed? That motion carries. And also, on that committee of the whole, we have looked at a rotating chair formula for 2023, and I think for 2024, we are going to go with one appointment. And that appointment will be Councillor Austin to chair the committee of the whole meetings moving forward for this calendar year. And we will have a look at it in June and see how that's working out. If there's any inkling that there's a need for a change, we can discuss that then. So I would move Councillor Austin as the committee of whole chair for 2024. Seconded by Councillor Sandu. All those in favor? Opposed, if any?
I don't know. Just messing with you.
It still counts.
Merry Christmas. Thank you. That motion
Thank
carries.
you.
Council Lake Recreation Commission, anything there, Councillor Sandu?
Our next meeting is January 22nd at 1:30 p.m.
Thank you, ma'am. Vancouver Island Regional Library, Councillor Austin.
Thank you. There's no report this month. Our next meeting is in February, and I believe it's going to be an in-person meeting in Nanaimo.
Thank you. Advisory Planning Commission, Councillor Austin.
No meeting this month. We did have our Christmas lunch together on Monday. Our next meeting is January 25th, Robbie Burns Day, 2024.
Community Forest Co-op. As noted, the alternate for that has been appointed, and Councillor Womaka will be the alternate for the Community Forest Co-op moving forward in 2024. Not much to report as it is Christmas season, and there is no harvesting within the community forest license for a number of reasons, economic being one of them, and a majority of plans going forward. The 5-year plan was presented in the Curling Lounge last Wednesday, I believe, from 10 till 1. There was a number of signatories with support for that 5-year cut plan, and then it moved to Pachida for some input there, and I'm not positive how many signatures were on that. But that's moving forward. That input is imperative to show the support of both communities to the province moving forward in the 5-year plan. The Forest Co-op did decorate the Forest Memorial Park yearly. In the worst weather, it was not a very nice day, but a number of volunteers came out. No one was hurt in the placement of those lights. So with that, I will move forward. There is a Christmas gathering, but it's not happening until January, so Merry January Christmas. And we will see a number of you out at that, I'm sure. Cowichan Valley Regional District, that would be myself again. We have finalized the strategic plan. It's taken a year to go through that process. The final draft was submitted at the last board meeting, and some small edits in language was presented there that will come forward and guide the next 3 years for the regional district on priorities within the purview of their jurisdiction. Also, the Cowichan Community Center has been designated as a learning center as mandated through the Emergency Act of the province. That was the facility that was chosen by the majority of members on the board. There was some concerns with how it was implemented last year during the cold season. Criteria has changed slightly on when that will be open. And there have been incidents already with the openings that have been occurring. There's a NGO that is organizing security and helping those that are attending in there. And moving forward, it will continue to be implemented when such indications permit. So there's a 0 degrees, a number of priorities. I can send that already out to you if you wish, when the criteria is open. And when the warming center is, it's only overnight, and then those members who are attending there would vacate the premises at 7 a.m. I believe it is, and then if needed, it would reopen that by the end of that night. We're in the middle of budget discussions, so 182 functions, not all that we participate in, but each one within the regional district is a separate budget, so it's a convoluted process. It's quite lengthy, and I'm sure we will be many hours discussing the merits of various increases or decreases in service within the regional district. The regional district is moving in the electoral areas to a 3-stream refuse, garbage, and compost. Recycling, compost, and refuse pick up within the electoral areas. It's taken 2 years to get the supply chain issues with equipment. So we have noted in the past, there is some problems with accommodating equipment for that process. There's a number of areas that currently only have garbage or currently only have recycling. So this will be a uniform service through those that are participating. And with that, that's my verbal report. Question?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So I've been watching the budget, with the elected directors, so they're looking at trying to stay within the 3.5%.
So the mandate was 3.5% for core, and then everything above that would be brought forward in the supplemental tiered system, as we spoke of at our last committee of the whole meeting. And then that would be up to those sitting at the table, whether it be electoral area service or the directors of the board, as to what they're comfortable with in those supplemental requests. And each one that is incorporated in there would increase that 3.5%. There was a number that were excluded, the ones that as us, as the town of Lake Couch, and have no control over. And who run the regional library board is one of them, that we have only one representative that makes decisions in the budgetary process. Policing, not even CBRD, but us, we have no control over that. And waste management, I believe is 3.5 for core services, and then anything above would be an increase.
Thank you.
Anything else? Community outreach team, Councilor Ross.
Thank you. There was no meeting this month, but I really enjoyed being part of the hamper setup and give out on 13th and 14th. Actually got to work with one of the Kraken hockey team members from Newfoundland. What a nice young man. He misses Atlantic High. And his dad just got a moose 3 weeks ago. I said, well, we got one too, so if you need moose too, we might have to have you over. Anyway, it was really good. I think they had about 180 names come through, come over, register. Nobody in this town is gonna be going short. There's lots and lots of stuff. Everybody's happy to play. The whole stage was covered in toys for kids with the names of the family. So it's a wonderful thing, and I tell everybody about it, because lots of people think there's nothing going on. So it's, that's my favorite meeting of all. Our next meeting's in January.
Thank you, that concludes.
Yeah, thank you.
Very much. Kudos to community services on their team of volunteers for accommodating that in this very difficult. Our Couch and Councilor Sandu.
Our next meeting is January 11th, 2024.
Thank you, ma'am. Couch and Watershed.
Our next meeting is January 29th, 2020.
And I know there is an indication that there was a funding increase for the Couch and Watershed Board this year, I believe so. Great news once the budget is finalized. All the great work that the Couch and Watershed Board does. Under bylaws, Town of Lake Couch and fees and services bylaw. to be reconsidered and adopted. Mr. Fernandez, please.
Nothing more to add than the fact that it's been given 3 readings at the last meeting and it's here for your reconsideration and adoption.
Thank you very much, and if you'll look, you'll see the highlighted changes in yellow. We appreciate that. Accommodating that request. Moved by Councillor Zandu, second by Councillor Boston. Any questions or comments? I do have a question on page 5. In the reservoir fire flow fee. I have not seen that incorporated in the fees and services bylaw prior. Is this a new implementation?
New brand.
CCCs?
For all new, no, it's in addition to the. It's for all new development.
And that was incorporated in the bylaw previously,
In the last file,
or is this
this is brand new.
brand new implementation? Okay,
This is as a result of a recommendation from.
our water.
Superintendent of Public Works.
Okay. Okay, perfect. And I thought I saw a council president.
Yeah, so just on the last time's report to council, your preamble said that we've talked about this at previous meetings, the increases. But we never discussed this latest round of increases. Did we all get an explanation from staff as to the increases in?
The 12,000 even?
No, just like the $1 bumps, the $1 bumps, the $5 bumps, like that was never really discussed. Because I had these lined up, these questions lined up when Mr. Smith and Ms. Gill were here. But the preamble was that it had been discussed at meetings earlier, but it hadn't.
Well, I can't speak to that. I think there was discussion had at the table, but in terms of details, I can't speak to that.
That, so just to clarify, that discussion was on the previous bylaw that we passed in January.
No, we got the budget meeting, so previous to that is where we decided on the amounts, right?
These are further increases.
Yeah, remember, yeah.
So it's not remembering, it's, sorry about that.
No, please.
These haven't been discussed, these are additional bumps from the last one we talked about. I can guarantee they're different. The ones that we passed in January, these are increases again. So my question, CEO, is this, like the last time we questioned these bylaws, are they covering inflation? But they're very small bumps where everything else is going up.
Yeah, that's a good point, Jack, but the issue is, you know, we're looking at trying to catch up and keep a bit consistent with other communities,
Yeah.
so that's the issue.
Yeah, follow up.
The also the increases at the click, so we're going another $5, but to the best of my knowledge, food prices and everything are going up. Like, are we keeping up with inflation? Because these are 3%, under 3% increases. Like, are they, like, should we be bumping them up more? And again, I apologize, I didn't bring it up on the first reading, but the preamble put me off it.
Yeah, well, just so the inflation rate is around 3%.
Yeah, so we're just covering that.
Correct.
Okay. Anything further? Councillor Bomaca.
I just have a question on the garbage law. So are those available at Public Works?
What's that?
There's a garbage law fee of $25 under waste rate. So is that the Veracruz law?
They're locked, the locks that are provided by Public Works.
And so the public can go.
That's not, I mean, that's more for commercial entities, I believe.
Commercially, yes, not for residential.
It's not the Veracruz
Correct.
that we're talking about.
Not yet.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anything further? It's been moved and seconded. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Councillor Frisbee is opposed. That noted. Thank you. Back into the electronic portion. Town of Lake Couch and official community plan bylaw number 1097-2023. May be read a first and second time. Mr. Fernandez.
Yes, under the community charter and the local government act, each municipality is supposed to review their OCP every 5 years. And this is probably the quickest that the town has engaged in that process. And the bylaw is basically changed in its entirety, and it deals with population, latest population census, housing needs assessment, some of the infrastructure requirements, climate adaptation, the mapping has been updated. And basically that's that's what's being done here. And, the APC has done basically a year's work on it. So there are corrections that need to be made. This is a chance to deal with the planner when he's coming here next. And, the hope is to have it go to public hearing in February.
So if I may, if there's interest in some tweaking within the document, January 9th would be the best opportunity with our planner here to question some of these changes that we might feel
Yes.
should be incorporated. We appreciate the work that the APC does, but as an advisory group, they bring that forward for verification by this table, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And that would be our opportunity to incorporate some tweaks per se that we feel may be appropriate. I'll move to Councillor Frisbee with a couple, please,
Just a couple.
tonight, and then say,
Do you want to do the first and second reading?
So I need to move into second reading, first and second, moved by Councillor Austin, seconded by Councillor Bomacker. Did I see your hand there? Thank you. Now we will go to input. Mr. Councillor Frisbee.
Just in terms of rentals, Airbnbs and development, I feel that the OCP kind of contradicts itself because we bring up the point we have extremely low vacancies of 0.2% vacancies for rentals in town. But then in the OCP, we also recommend that council should allow Airbnbs, even though they're not allowed in CBRD currently. And we also are imposing a 5-year freeze on new developments over a certain size of lot. So I feel like we're sending different messages there. Obviously, the Airbnb is going to be hotly contested next March or whenever that new regulations come in. I think it's dangerous territory to have it in our OCP saying council should allow Airbnbs before we discuss it. And as I said, it also contradicts some of our vacancy rates, although that 0.2% may not be up to date. We still are seeing a shortfall in that quality accommodation.
Point, thank you. And I think the clarification will come when that legislation is finally endorsed by the province, and that will indicate how we move forward in incorporating Airbnbs. There is some inkling that it has to be a partial ownership. The property owner has to reside within there, similar to the B&B regulations that we currently have within the zones that those are allowed. And it'll be interesting to incorporate that into the growth plan of a vacation destination, so to speak, with very limited hotel accommodation spaces. So we know that Airbnbs fill that need during the months of tourism, and incorporating those as not full-time rentals, but other opportunities within long-term / short-term rental opportunities, I think could be incorporated within the new legislation. We'll see what happens when that comes out. Joseph, you got something?
Yeah, the OCP is a general statement of what the community wants done in the next 5 years. The details are basically covered in the zoning bylaw, so that's going to be, it's got to be consistent with OCP, so that's coming up for further review the next go around.
So once these are incorporated, the subdivision and zoning bylaw will come forward with those changes implemented into that. So if there is a zone that is identified as an opportunity for Airbnb, with the legislation that will be incorporated in those amendments. One more?
So just to go back on that, I mean, this isn't me sharing my opinion on Airbnb.
Oh, no.
I feel like this OCP is going to be in place before new legislation comes out on Airbnbs, and us being a community under 10,000. We are just going to decide at this council table whether we want to buy in, opt in, I should say, to that plan. So no, I just think it does, the OCP does contradict itself as far as what inventory we've got for rentals, where are we spending it? And then what our future development are like there's a lot of chat in FCP about what development we want to see, but there's also a 5-year freeze on development from the point that we're going to accept this OCP. So I realise we could argue other bylaws, but I think it's important that this document doesn't contradict itself for us to base our future decisions on it.
Appreciate that, and I think, if I recall, when, Post-its were around, this room, I do remember that comment, but Airbnb's on one of those in a sticky note, so that would have been incorporated from the public input and then placed by our plan within the appropriate areas. We can certainly bring that forward as a topic, changes here on the night. Again, this is just to get it on the table and to implement that public hearing process. Joseph.
Just one other thing, I think the reason for the freeze that was referred to here was because of the fact that we were waiting for that, for the sewer, and that may change. When we look at the whole thing. And there's also the issue of water
Right.
pressure.
Fire flows,
Fire.
safety of the neighborhoods that we incorporate in the energy. Yes, Karen.
Just before I get
Council President.
carried away with this, so the OCP, is this a document that we're bound by our future decisions? Because there's a lot of, like, as we're talking now, we're saying, well, that may change. So I mean, it's something that if we have this in a working document and we can go back to and say, this wasn't happening, because there's things that I don't agree with in this OCP. Are we held to it in any way?
Amendments to the OCP can be brought forward to council at any time by through our staff to direction, and then implement those changes within the document. This is just the update that is mandated by the province of every 5 years. It took considerable amount of time to do the first one, and I will give kudos to the APC on the speed of this refresh. But there is an opportunity throughout our mandate to incorporate changes within the OCP. The OCP is a long-term vision of where the community is going, which is then dictated by the subdivision and zoning bylaws to incorporate those changes. So that's the avenue that we have, should there be any angst within any of that language, et cetera. That helps.
I think we class it as a living document in a way, because things will come up in between, and then a bylaw may change and zoning may change. So it's basically, I don't think you're bound legally by any of this if there's a major issue, but it's just, as you say, it's a vision for the future is what people want at that time. A majority.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, one more?
Was that time?
I'll give you one more.
One more.
Pick a good one.
I think the main sticking point for me is, I don't think the word expropriation should be in our OCP. I think all other links should be taken before that word is thrown out there. So I'd like to see that word definitely taken out in reference to the Joel Road future development to the east.
Okay, so noted, and we'll bring that forward to the planner and music attendants as well. I did have.
Just to follow up, I mean, I know that this is a living document and this is the first and second reading and our public hearings and things, but to me at the moment, there's just too many contradictions within the OCP. And I realize that there'll be opportunities for me to go in and talk to the town planner about this. But I think it's important that we shouldn't just pass this if we're not happy with it. You know, I just think there's too many contradictions going against what we're saying in this document to pass at this stage.
Perfect. And again, this is just first and second to get it within the process. So understand that there are some possibilities for some changes within the document prior to and in the public hearing process. And there was a number of emails and phone calls to myself on some of the designations within the employment plans, for instance. So there is a desire to look at some of the allotments of the employment zones and what could be allowed within that. But again, that can be incorporated into the zoning portion of the bylaw. Should there be any need to look at expanding the employment opportunities or not identifying them specifically as either industrial or light industrial. General employment opportunities, I think, should be incorporated wherever possible within the town of Lake Cowichan to allow those who live here the opportunity to work here. And with that, I will stop. So we have first and second reading on the floor. Any more discussion? Call the question, all those in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. So I have new business A. 2024 meeting schedule for council. Joseph?
Yeah, just here for council approval. If you see a need for changes, you can make it now, and then we will have that scheduled for next year.
So I have a question to staff and to my colleagues here. Given that we are streaming and recording our meetings now, is it appropriate to look at perhaps changing our meeting times to accommodate working hours within the corporation? Do you feel that 6 o'clock, as you can see by the huge gathering we have tonight, there doesn't seem to be the interest of participation after work hours, et cetera, as in the past. So I'm just wondering if there's an appetite to look at perhaps an earlier start within our Tuesday meetings, and if so, what would be appropriate for that within staff time and within council's employment opportunities to incorporate the work of this forum. Councilor Ross.
I would think that the only time would be 5 o'clock, we couldn't go much earlier, if we could all do 5 o'clock. Like we used to, when we just started 9 years ago.
We do our committee meetings at 5. And I think council meetings was changed. I can't remember.
Couple of times.
Yeah.
Used to be
Five at
7,
one time.
used to be 7.
Seven's kind of late too, yeah, seven's late for me.
Councilor Sandy.
Is there a reason not to go back to that again?
I don't see a reason why we can't do whatever this table desires.
I think for staff too, I hear just gonna finish it there.
Councilor Frisbee.
Yeah, the feedback I get is that it's dinner time. So people, especially young families, aren't really engaged, so they're not gonna come out to this. Like, is there any opportunity to move it earlier? And so, I know that we all have jobs, I know you're shaking your head already. But, is there an opportunity to move it earlier at all?
And that's why I wanted to bring that up, whether there was an appetite for this year to keep it as is and perhaps look next year, or if there's an appetite to do it now to try to move it to an earlier opportunity. It's totally at the discretion of this board. Councilor Frisbee.
I was kind of assuming that's where we're going with this.
Yeah.
But, no, I think it's, I think it might change and it's worth a try, moving it into daytime now to see if there is buy-in from residents. I realize that, as I said, we've all got jobs. But if we can come up with a schedule and have it during daytime hours, we may see more engagement in this.
Councilor Ross.
Does everybody work on Tuesday? How late do you work? Yeah. And you're till 5. I think we did 4 one time, but it was kind of, I don't know that people with families would come at that time anyway. I mean, daytime would be great if you could do it 10 o'clock or something. You're fresher in the morning too, but then if that's pretty hard to do, I can do it most time.
And one of the reasons I'm looking at an earlier start time is some of the meetings do go a little bit long. Staff have been here since 8:30 in the morning. Do we want to keep them until 9 o'clock at night? That's the only reason I was looking at some daytime stuff. We do place a lot of work within our staff through our CAO, who then delegates to the appropriate managers, et cetera. And if we can accommodate that within working hours of this office, I think that would free up some opportunities for some improvements, but that's just my thought on this. If you want to keep it like this for this year and then look at an opportunity, it's totally up to you. This is here to be endorsed and then to be published on our website and then out to the public.
Would you want a motion?
I would need something to change this as it has been presented as a public document.
Well, I say we try going back to 5 for all the meetings and at least 5, that's an hour earlier.
Second, moved and seconded that all meetings start at 5 p.m. committee and council for 2024. Moved by Councillor Boston, seconded by Councillor Bonacca. Any further discussion, Joseph?
So that would mean the meeting schedule here is also amended.
Yes.
All meetings.
Does that work?
Yeah.
Any further discussion at this point? And please consider the input on perhaps trying to move it forward if we can accommodate somehow within working hours of appropriation. I think that would certainly help in some aspects. For next year, I have a motion that says all meetings will start at 5 p.m. held here, of course, 39 Central Road. Moved and seconded. Any further input? Call the question. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on, the other new business, B 63 Couch Lake Road, council direction. Mr. Hernandez.
Well, we've tried, writing them a letter, council's passed motions, saying that, it's time to remediate all the subject to demolition, so it's at that point where the owners come back and have given us options in terms of housing development, which is really not suitable for that location. And I think the next step should be advising the owner that if it's not remediated within 30 days or whatever, we will be putting out an advertisement for the demolition.
So
So notice,
if it hasn't been started within 30 days,
that would be on you.
I know we beat this up for a number of months, years.
Yeah.
With no result, so this is the opportunity to direct staff on what your pleasure is. And I would need a motion to how you would like to do that, should someone like to do that? Councillor Austin.
Didn't we ask for an RFP at the last meeting? We talked about an RFP.
We did discuss that.
Yeah, there is an RFP prepared. We have it.
So would you need a motion?
We need direction to incorporate that with whatever language you wish.
I'm not sure what language, but I'm sure you would know what language.
So perhaps I will move it forward. I would move that the owner be contacted and informed that an RFP for demolition and remediation of 63 Couch Lake Road will be implemented by the town should one not occur within 30 days by the property. Do I have a second? Councillor Sandy. Discussion. Call question, those in favor? Opposed, if any? That motion carries. Thank you very much. And it's certainly something that we don't take lightly when we choose this avenue. But we have exhausted all other options, in my opinion. This is no different than a number of properties we've dealt with through our time at this table. It is a long process and we have to take into consideration that this is somebody's property and their livelihood sometimes. So we do take it seriously and we don't do these decisions lightly here. Oh my God.
Well, just a question to the CAO, so if you put out the RFP for the demolition of the building, is it also up to the town then to get a hazmat assessment?
It will be all part of this.
I'll be part of that, okay, thank you.
Have I called the question on that?
Oh, yes,
Thank you very much. Deputy Mayor appointment for 2024. First of all, I'd like to thank Councillor Austin for her role as deputy mayor in 2023. She filled in for me a number of times in my absence, attending other events at the same time. So thank you very much, Ms. Lawson. You're welcome. And for 2024, the deputy mayor appointment shall be Councillor Sandu. There will be a number that you will be attending. So with that, I move that Councillor Sandu be appointed deputy mayor for 2024. And I have a seconder of Councillor Austin. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Thank you, and sympathies or congratulations. So next is the new addition of a grant request, and that was you, Councillor Sanders.
So I received a email from a teacher at LCS, Nicole Russo. And this is just, I'll just quickly read this, what she said. I managed to get a climate action grant to do some rewilding of our school grounds. My students have researched and made a plan for our site, and we have received a $1,500 grant from School District 79 to buy native plants from Ken Elliott. I can't pronounce that. Restoration Nursery in Cowichan Bay, and have Ken, who is a restoration expert, work with us on the project. We also received a gift from the Cowichan Seed Hub of wildflower seeds. Our goal is to add more tree coverage to our property through restoration, reforestation, and to create a small wildflower meadow to increase food sources for pollinators and hopefully to install some mason bee houses. And we will be working with my art class to create signage explaining the cultural and medicinal uses of the plants. So what they were looking for was a $500 grant and waiver request from the town, and she filled out the form for it and forwarded it to her.
Okay, we did have that electronically, just so we were aware of what the request was. Was there any indication that there was funds left within the grant?
I emailed our director of finance, and she said there was.
Did she give you an amount
She said there was $800 that was not.
allotted yet?
Yes,
Because there are commitments within that.
there's $1,000 in there that's committed that hasn't been taken, and she said there was 800.
800 remain.
Yes.
So the request is for 500, and there's nothing on the floor yet. So,
I'll move.
okay, can I have a resolution to that effect? How much you'd like to?
I would like to move to give LCS a $500 grant and aid for the learning environment, teaching about local plants and pollinators, the community with the new learning space and example of climate adaptation action.
Moved by Councillor Sandu, seconded by Councillor Bonaka. Any further discussion on that? It's a $500 grant and aid to the organization as stated in the resolution. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Time sensitive, as this is the last meeting of the year.
Yes.
Piggybacking on the school district, I'm not sure if you've noticed that the old playground at Stanley Gordon has been implemented as the new bus storage area. There's some work occurring there on Stone Avenue. And that's where the buses will be accommodated now. I think there's other information that will come forward within that property in the near future, so stay tuned. How's that? So this will be the last mayor's report for 2023. As the year draws to an end and we reflect on last year, it seems we have traversed one issue of the pandemic right into another of inflation, high interest rates, and low inventories of rental accommodations and supply chain issues. Council, as taxpayers, is very aware of these issues and the impacts that property taxes have in the scheme of things, and will consider this in our upcoming deliberations. On behalf of council and myself, I want to thank all volunteers and organizations who go above and beyond to support those in need in our community. Not just during the festive season, but throughout the year. Your support does not go unnoticed and is much appreciated. We end 2023 with hopes of a better year ahead. And with the announcement of significant funds to complete our sewer treatment upgrade, the completion of this project will help accommodate the anticipated growth of our town in the future. Without senior levels of government's support, we would have struggled to meet the financial needs for this project. Thanks to all members of council for making it through our first year of this term, and to Councillor Austin for completing the role of deputy mayor this year. Councillor Austin filled in for me when I was unavailable to attend various events. In 2024, this role will be placed in the capable hands of Councillor Sandu. As we settle into the renovated town hall, we are anticipating an open house to showcase the improvements in the new year, and will advertise such when the date has been finalized. Many capital projects are completed or under construction as we move into 2024. Also, the inclusion of recycling, which the town has taken in-house, does not come without some bumps. The garbage, compost, and recycling calendar is now posted on the website and will have changes on the dates from the previous contractor. Please bear with us as we incorporate this program into our delivery of services. All in all, it was a busy year, and all indications are for the same thing next year. To all staff and employees, a special thanks for your contributions to make our town run as best as it can. To everyone in Lake Cowichan and surrounding areas, we would like to wish you the best of the season, however you celebrate. Enjoy family, friends, and gatherings as we all take a much deserved break. And that concludes the meeting. With that, any notices of motion? I forgot to do that prior. Nothing? Question period. Anything from the public? Nothing there. So here's your opportunity if you're watching online. You can either email at general@lakecowichan.ca, or you may call 250-749-3239 with questions on anything on today's agenda. So that number again is 250-749-3239. We will wait a couple minutes and see if the phone rings or if an email comes in. Until then, we can have some interlude music if you wish.
Jeopardy music, I put that on.
They don't even,
Well, they might not have decided to do it until right this minute.
oh, that's on the
They're
agenda.
still on. Um,
Well, seeing as the phone is not ringing off the hook, I'll be looking for a motion to adjourn, moved by Councillor Frisbee, seconded by Councillor Sandu. All those in favor, opposed if any? Special thanks to
Very
staff and our recording secretary. Thank you very kindly. And to you, sir, thanks for joining us.